Hello, Bruce.
Hi, Simon.
How are you today?
I'm feeling hoppy.
Hoppy. Very nice. You didn't say malty.
I could have said malty, but that always reminds me more of whiskey than of beer.
Oh, that's true. So it does, yeah. There's a connection. And hello to everyone listening to us, wherever you may be.
Hello, everyone.
If you're not already aware, I'm sure you are, because you've been listening to us for, give or take, 108 episodes. If you haven't, hello, welcome. My name's Simon Wells.
And mine isn't.
Hello, isn't.
I'm Bruce Fielding.
There you go.
Yeah.
We are a pair of voiceover artists who do voicey stuff.
We do.
And when we're not doing it professionally, we're here doing it for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
We're a couple of nerds. We love random facts and trivia and interesting things.
Yes. Honestly, if you weren't here, we'd still be doing this.
Yes, we would. Yes. When we meet up in person, this is what we do.
This is exactly what we do.
So that's why we're here. This is Factoraly. Every week we pick a random subject, or at least our random subject generator picks one for us.
Yes.
We go and do some research, we come back together, and we chat.
Yes. And ideally, we don't indulge in whatever it is. Otherwise, we'd be full of cucumbers and Viking helmets and things like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Apart from today, when we're talking about beer.
We are indeed. Now, this is a slightly one-sided topic because I am an absolute beer lover.
I don't drink beer.
Right. So one of us is speaking from personal experience, the other is speaking hypothetically.
Yes. I mean, yes, the facts are there. I'm happy to regurgitate beer.
Right, okay.
But only verbally. When you first start drinking beer, you have to get over the fact that it tastes horrible.
Yes, you're right, yeah.
But actually, once you've gone past that, then it's fine.
Yeah.
And I never got past that, it tastes horrible.
Fine. I didn't for ages. I used to be a cider drinker. And yeah, the first time someone offered me a beer, I mean, it didn't start off with a particularly great beer, to be fair.
Yeah.
Someone gave me a bottle of Budweiser. I realised it was disgusting and never went back for a very long time. Eventually, a particular group of friends persuaded me to try this ale stuff that they were drinking.
Real ale?
Real ale, proper beer.
Okay, yeah.
I tried it. It was horrible. They convinced me to try it again. It was a bit less horrible.
Yes.
They convinced me to try it again. Eventually, I ended up really liking the stuff, and that is now my preferred beverage. I am an ale drinker.
Ah. See, yeah. I found the same thing about malt whiskey.
Okay.
When I first started drinking, I was basically encouraged by spending 2 weeks on Islay as the guest of all the distillery managers.
I mean, that'll do it.
Yeah, I was doing advertising for black and white whiskey at the time.
Right.
And I didn't really like malt whiskey. I didn't really like whiskey in general, but I certainly didn't like malt whiskey. But by the time I came back, I now have a collection of malt whiskies. I now love malt whiskey.
Great. There you go. So a little bit of persistence, people. That's what you need.
Absolutely.
If at first you don't like it, try again.
Yes. Before we start, Can I just say, I hope you are going to leave this episode with at least two things that will not leave your brain.
Okay.
Because we're Factoraly, we often throw things in that don't have anything at all to do with the subject.
Oh, yes, we do like a slight tangent here, don't we?
And I learned today Mrs. Beaton's birthday. So Mrs. Beaton's birthday is the 14th of March.
Okay.
And in Mrs. Beaton's cookbook, there's a lot of recipes for pie.
Yes.
And in America, the 14th of March is 3.14.
Oh, my goodness. That's a mind-blowing moment.
Yes.
What's it got to do with beer, though?
Nothing. I mean, I imagine that she had stuff to do with beer in her recipes, but
that's wonderful.
I just thought I'd throw that in.
Sure, why not? Well, yeah, pies go well with beer. You can sort of get steak and nail pies and so on.
Absolutely.
So there's a contextual link.
And now you will never forget Mrs. Beaton's birthday.
3.14 Pie
It's actually
Day.
called Pie Day. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So there you go. Useless, unrelated facts are coming to you straight away.
But you'll never forget them. So beer.
Beer.
Roman.
Earlier.
Greek.
No.
Egyptian.
Possibly.
Chinese.
Maybe. Certainly Mesopotamian.
Ooh, Mesopotamia.
Yeah, so around 4,000 or so BC in Mesopotamia, which is modern-day Iraq. They've found evidence of it being drunk there. It was consumed in ancient Egypt as well, which is roughly around the same time, so dispute as to which one. An archaeological dig found a beautiful jewel-encrusted golden drinking straw in one of the pharaoh's tombs. They cracked it open and did some form of wizardy chemical testing on it, assuming it would, contain traces of wine.
Yes.
It contained traces of beer.
Ooh.
So the pharaohs were drinking beer, which I find a lovely, heartwarming
That's great.
fact. The etymology of beer, it's an Old English word, bior, coming from Germanic origin, based on Latin biber, B-I-B-E-R, meaning...
Justin.
Right, like Justin. Biber meaning to drink, which is also where we get the word imbibe, to drink.
Okay.
So all of
That
those
makes
things
sense.
are related. It's just a drink. But yes, it's old. People have been drinking it for a long time.
I heard that Egyptians used to make beer from bread.
Really?
Yes. So, because if you think about it, it's the same ingredients for beer as bread. It's like it's a grain,
Yes.
it's yeast,
Yes.
bit of water, a little bit of sugar. In bread, you allow that to prove and to expand,
Yeah.
to ferment, if you like.
Yeah.
And in beer, the same thing happens. And in fact, the Egyptians used to put bread into water to turn into beer, which is why they used straws, because actually it was like a fairly gritty sort of thing to drink.
It was quite porridgey at
Yes.
first. It was almost like a sort of a lentil-y soup.
Yeah, I've seen some that somebody made,
Ah,
and what I'll do is I'll put a link to this soupy beer in our show notes, which you'll find on our blog at factoraly.com.
Factoraly.com.
Yeah.
So beer's been around forever. It used to be quite a sort of a small-scale cottage industry thing. People would brew beer at home. There's a wonderful term from medieval Europe, an alewife.
Oh, okay.
And an alewife, essentially at one point or other in medieval Europe, brewing was actually the domain of the woman of the house. So the wives would stay home and brew ale, hence alewives. And then they sort of started selling it to passers-by. The first pubs were just people going into people's homes and purchasing the beer that they'd made.
Right.
Eventually, brewing became the habit. Oh gosh, that's an unintentional pun. Brewing became the habit of monks.
Of course it did. Well, especially Belgium. I mean, Belgian monks seem to have been very sort of keen on their beer.
Absolutely, very prolific. Yeah, they've got a lot of time on their hands. They have they often live near a nice, clear, natural stream.
Yes.
So why not make beer?
Well, religion has played a bit of a part. There's one of the most famous saints in Ireland is St. Bridget of Kildare.
Yes, okay.
And St. Bridget of Kildare, I mean, saints do all sorts of things, like they sort of chop their heads off and then walk down to the water, and they sort of turn things into other things, and they cure the sick and whatever.
Standard.
St. Bridget turned her bathwater into beer.
Now that's a useful miracle.
That is a very, sort of water into wine, fine.
Yes.
Bathwater into beer.
Perfect. Crikey.
Apparently she did it in quite a few places.
Really?
Yeah.
So she just went on a tour, took a bath, and then
But then
Turned
people
it into beer.
drank her bathwater.
how very odd.
Yes, very, very odd.
Beer has sort of gone through quite a lot of changes over the centuries, over the millennia. We've sort of said already that it started off as a porridgey, soupy type construction,
Yeah.
quite gritty, quite thick, and the ingredients used have changed quite a lot over the years. Hops are now an absolutely standard, integral part of beer. You can't get beer without hops. Hops only started being introduced into beer around the 9th century. So Ninth, yeah, quite late. And they're a flavouring, these little flowers that grow on hop vines
Yes.
throughout Kent and beyond.
And in London.
And in London as well, yeah. I actually saw some trailing over a fence of a train station recently, just growing wild.
Round the corner from where I live, there's a community association I'm a board member of, and we were approached by people who wanted to grow hops in our green space.
Oh, fantastic. Cool, that could be a little learner.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're a sort of a flavouring thing, these hops, these flowers, essentially. They're dried
Yes.
flowers that are chucked into the beer during the process. Before the 9th century, they used to use something called Groot, which just makes me laugh
I
because
am Groot.
exactly, yeah. Gruit, spelt Gruit,
Right.
is sort of a herbal mixture that was added to the beer to give it a bit more of an interesting flavour.
Yeah.
And it contained myrtle and rosemary and yarrow root and all these different herbs. But then, tastes change and popularity changes and availability of ingredients change. And around the 9th century, they started using hops. And by the 15th century, that was an absolute standard. Beer didn't exist unless it had hops.
I understood that hops were really only introduced to beer because they wanted to drink beer in India.
Right, yes. Go on. Talk about that.
So I understand that hops act as a preservative.
That's right.
So if you're shipping beer a long way, you don't want it to go off.
Yeah.
And the troops in India, when we used to own India, they would brew the beer in the UK and then ship it in barrels to India. And to make sure that it didn't go off on the boats, they put hops in the barrels.
Yeah.
And what happened was, because it's a long sea voyage, the hops not only preserved the beer, but the long sea journey actually made the beer better. So by the time it got this pale ale got to India, India pale ale, it was actually a delicious thing.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the birth of IPA, which is one of my favourite types of beer. Just a little bit hoppier, a little bit more floral, lovely sort of floral aroma to it. So yes, that is totally true. That is the birth of IPA, India Pale Ale.
Yes.
But that was quite a lot later on. Hops were being used as a deliberate flavouring ingredient since the 9th century. But they had this lovely side effect of preserving the beer. But yes, isn't that great? The invention of IPA was simply because apparently the climate and weather and type of water and ingredients and so on available in India are not conducive with making a good pale ale. They're good for making lagers and things, but
you can make Cobra.
Yeah, exactly. But not so great for making pale ale. So that was it. It was accidental.
Interesting.
You mentioned part of the ingredients in beer.
Yes.
What do you know about the beer making process?
It's water, grains, either wheat or barley, and something to make it ferment, so yeast.
Yeah.
So I think if you've got yeast, barley and water and just leave it, it'll sort of eventually turn into beer.
Yes, in essence, that's right. You have to brew it. You have to heat it up for the whole thing to work.
Yes.
But the barley is the main grain used. When you roast barley or toast barley, you change its name. It becomes malt because the process of toasting barley is called malting.
Right.
Which is why you get buildings called malt houses and maltings and things like that, because that's where they toast the barley. And because beer is such a diverse drink, from the sort of the light, pale fizziness of a lager, which is this sort of bright yellow colour, all the way through to the blackness of a stout like Guinness.
Yes.
The main thing that makes the difference in the colour is how long you malt your barley for.
Okay.
So that changes the colour of the barley depending on how long it's been cooked, and that changes the colour and the flavour of the beer.
Fair enough.
The whole process leaves you with quite a lot of leftover stuff.
Which you either love or hate.
Oh, good. You've done your research there. Talk about that, Bruce.
Well, I haven't done any research on this. I just happen to know that one of the byproducts of the beer industry is Marmite.
Yes. Isn't that great?
So basically a yeast extract that was extracted from the beer.
That's right, yeah. So, you have these massive great vats full of water. It contains grains, hops, yeast. It contains all these different things.
Yeah.
The end product is just liquid. So you end up with this horrible, mashy lump of ick.
Yes.
What on earth do you do with it? One of the things you do is you extract the yeast and you sell it to Unilever to make Marmite. Ironically, your local brewery, Camden Town Brewery, experimented with making a beer that contained Marmite.
Oh, wow.
So it's come full circle. They called it Love It or Hate It.
Okay.
And it was a vaguely Marmite-y flavoured ale.
Yes.
Haven't tried it, but I do like Marmite, so I'm tempted.
Next time you come over.
Absolutely.
We'll go to, you can actually sit outside the brewery and
I
take
know,
the
I've
fresh
walked past it. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
But yes, there are lots of other byproducts. So you end up with, obviously, all the leftover grains. These are referred to as BSG, brewers' spent grains.
Okay, I assume that's cattle food or something, is it?
Yeah, but that's one of the things you can do with it. So you can make it for cattle or pig feed.
Yeah.
You can compost it and turn it into fertilizer.
Okay.
Some people have dried it out and turned it into flour. A lot of these things are done at quite small industry levels.
Yes.
But, there's a company that makes crackers for cheese that contains brewers' spent grain.
Okay.
There's a company that makes pizza dough out of it. There's a small company that makes paper out of it. I don't know how, but they dry this stuff out and they make slightly brown-coloured paper out of it, and they produce postcards in cardboard boxes. There's a company that uses it to grow mushrooms in as a substrate for growing mushrooms in the city where there isn't so much soil around.
Does anyone use it as a breeding ground for fleas?
Not that I know of. Why? What do you know?
Well, there is a specific breed of flea called the German beer mat flea that only lives on beer mats in Germany.
No way.
Yes.
Gosh, that's niche.
So you will occasionally get an infestation of fleas coming through the beer mats in Germany.
That's disgusting, but also rather wonderful.
It's rather nice, isn't it? It's quite healthy, isn't it, beer?
You mean other than the fact that it gives you a huge beer belly and potential heart problems? Yes.
Well, no, but it's quite calorific. As long as if you're exercising enough, then beer won't make you fat, but it will support your energy needs.
Sure.
Low alcohol beer is very good if you're living in an area where the water's not very good to drink.
Oh, I see, yes.
So, for example, one of the reasons the Egyptians used beer when they were building the pyramids, people subsisted on beer.
Yes.
Because it was like good energy and liquid that wasn't going to make you sick.
Sure, yeah.
And that's called, I think, small beer.
Oh, right.
So small beer is a very low, I mean, they now call it like low alcohol or no alcohol beer, but actually they should be calling it small beer because that's what it originally was.
How interesting. I've often wondered about that. And also 17th, 18th century London, when the water was all full of nasty diseases that people didn't yet know about, the best way to drink water was to turn it either into beer or gin.
Yeah. Well, this was part of the John Snow thing with the outbreak in Soho.
That's right, yeah.
Where he worked out that people who worked at the local brewery weren't getting sick because they were drinking beer, whereas people were drinking from the pump in the street were getting sick.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Thank you, beer.
Yeah. Thank you, John Snow.
Another London-related beer fact is there's a type of dark beer called porter.
Yes.
It's darker than an ale. It's lighter than a stout. And this was invented for the porters who worked on the riverside in London, who carried cargo to and from the boats to the warehouses. Energy. It's like the old Guinness advertising slogans, isn't it? Guinness for strength.
It's good for you.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, it's drowning you.
Right. Ooh.
Because in 1814, there was the Great London Beer Flood, which was actually porter.
Yes, that's right.
You were talking about how it's kept in big vats.
Yeah.
It's called the Mew Brewery or the Horseshoe Brewery. So they had loads of these vats of beer and they were all fermenting away nicely. And then at some point, one of them exploded and took out all the other vats. So the first thing that the people on Tottenham Court Road knew about this was this tsunami of beer.
Yeah.
Like barreling down the road and wiping out houses, killing people, injuring people.
Yeah.
It sort of destroyed half of Tottenham Court Road.
And it really was a tsunami. It was like a 15-foot wave, I read in one account, this 15-foot wave of black beer bursting through the brewery wall and destroying the neighbouring houses.
Yes. I think killed 9 people, injured loads more.
Yeah.
And people were actually in the street lapping it up. People would bring out like saucepans and anything they could carry at home in.
Yeah.
And they were desperately trying to grab some of this porter in the street. And some people died of alcohol poisoning from drinking the beer in the street.
Yeah. This is one of my favourite London facts. As ever on Factoraly, apocrypha is truth.
Of course.
If there are some unverified stories, we treat them like truth. Apparently, the newspapers at the time reported on the fact that the locals behaved in a very controlled and seemly manner.
Rubbish.
So the brewery backed onto St Giles' Rookery.
Yes.
which one of the biggest slums and dens of thieves and so on, proper Oliver Twist stuff in the whole of London. No way were they acting appropriately.
No.
There are stories that some households who had members who were killed by the flood actually charged people money to come in to the house and see the people that were killed by the beer.
Yes,
and
the families of people. Yes,
and give people a tankard of the beer that they'd scooped up off the ground as a sort of a takeaway. I don't care whether that's true or not. It's a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. The site of that brewery is now the Dominion Theatre.
That's right, yes.
Currently they're showing The Devil Wears Prada, which I love because on Sunday mornings, the Dominion Theatre is also a church.
Great.
So you basically got this enormous, great sort of like devilish thing outside, and there's this sort of like a hanging sign saying church.
Oh, wonderful. And it's on the site of the Great London Beer Flood of 1814.
Yes.
What a wonderful mishmash.
My favourite beer company is Carlsberg.
That's probably the best lager in the world.
Probably.
Don't tell me you wrote that.
No, I didn't.
Thank goodness.
So the reason why Carlsberg is my favourite beer is for many reasons. And the most specific reason that it's my favourite beer is if you go back to our episode on fish, you will find a whole section on eels.
Oh, you will? Oh, yeah, crikey. You went off on one there, didn't you? I remember.
I completely went off on one on eels. As did Johannes Schmidt, who was the chief biologist who worked at Carlsberg, who married the daughter of the chief exec. And then went off on this mission to try and find out how eels reproduce.
Yes.
Please go to I'll put a link in the show notes. It is fascinating.
It is,
the story of the reproductive process of eels.
Yes. Oh, it's all coming back to me now.
And the other thing that Carlsberg did is they introduced the pH scale.
Oh.
Carlsberg Labs, they sort of started using the pH scale of acidity and alkalinity.
Did they really?
That started at Carlsberg.
No way.
The other thing that Carlsberg did is after the Second World War, they were very grateful to the Brits. So they decided to create a beer especially for Winston Churchill.
Oh, right, okay.
A special beer, a special brew of beer for Winston Churchill.
Right.
So Carlsberg Special Brew was actually invented for Winston Churchill.
No way.
Yeah, that's 3 good reasons why I love Carlsberg.
That just feels all kind of wrong. If I were to picture Winston Churchill drinking a beer, I would expect him to be drinking a deep brown bitter ale, not a Danish lager.
Yes.
How interesting.
Have you ever heard of White House honey beer?
No, I have not.
Where do you think it's made?
White House. I would imagine it's made in Washington, D.C.
In the White House.
Actually made in the White House?
Yes.
No.
So Obama, in 2011, with his own money, bought like a home brew kit. And he sort of like discussed it with the chefs in the White House. And they started brewing White House honey ale.
Okay.
And bottling it and making labels for it. And it became like the beer that you drank in the White House during Obama's presidency.
That's fantastic.
And he's like, somebody wrote and said, I'd love to share a beer with you. And he said, come on, I've got my own.
That's wonderful.
So yeah, White House honey ale. If any of our listeners have tried it, let us know. You can send us an email on hello@factoraly.com.
Absolutely, yeah, please do.
You know, I talked about it being good for you. There is a way in which beer is good for you, not only on the inside,
right,
but on the outside.
Beer-based moisturising cream. I don't know.
No, beer pools in a spa in Austria.
I beg your pardon.
So there's the Starkenberger Brewery. And in the Starkenberger Brewery, you can go on a factory tour. And part of the factory tour is they have baths full of beer in a spa.
Wow.
I imagine it, because it's slightly alcoholic, it probably has a slight sort of like tightening effect on the skin and things like that. It would dry you out, wouldn't it, a little bit?
I wonder what their policy is on drinking the bathwater. Oh, we're back to drinking the bathwater again.
Exactly. We're back to St. Bridget. Yeah. I also know that in Russia, beer was classified if it was under 10% alcohol by volume, it was classified as a soft drink
No.
until 2011.
Oh, my goodness.
So if you're in Russia and you just want a soft drink, you can order an under 10% ABV beer.
Which, that's sort of double the strength of a good ale here.
Yes.
Crikey.
It's like I'll have a lime cordial. Oh, and I'll have a pint of beer. Oh, that's fine. That's a couple of soft drinks. Yeah, he's only 12. It's fine. It's a soft drink.
Yes. Wow.
But the strongest beer is very strong.
Okay, go on.
There's a beer called Snake Venom. And Snake Venom is 67.5%.
Good grief.
It is it's basically a beer that's as strong as vodka.
That's ridiculous. How on
Yeah.
earth did they brew that?
I have no idea, but I'll look into it and I'll put something in the show notes. When you go into a pub and they pour you a pint of beer, do you like it with a big head on it?
Depends on the beer.
Okay. Because what happens with beer is that it has lots of dissolved CO2 in the beer, which makes it fizzy. If you put a large head on the beer and then scrape the head off, what you're doing is you're scraping off the CO2.
Right, okay.
So actually you're getting more beer for your money if it starts off with a big head and then you scrape the head off and then you fill it up again. So if a barman pours you a pint that's got a big head on it, just say, oh, just top that up.
Yes.
And then you're actually getting more beer for your cash.
That's brilliant. Isn't it interesting? These things do sort of change. At one point, it was the fashion to get a nice pint of, sort of Yorkshire bitter beer.
Yes.
It had to have a good half an inch or so of white, creamy head on it.
That goes on your nose.
And it goes on your nose all over your moustache. You sort of sip through it. That's the way. Nowadays, I think any amount of head on a beer is considered wasteful. Like you say, where's the rest of my beer?
Unless it's a Guinness.
In which case, it's mandatory.
Yes. And there are kids now, aren't there, who do this splitting the harp or something like that, where your first sip has to split the between the harp and the word Guinness on the glass.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Brilliant. I've never heard
I've
of
heard
that.
about this. Obviously, I don't drink beer, so I have no idea.
No idea what it is.
I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
That's great.
We're very nearly at the point where we're going to start talking about beer records.
Yes, we are.
I've got one to start us off.
Oh, go on then.
I said at the top, there are two facts that you're going to remember from this, one being Mrs. Beaton's birthday.
Yes.
So this is the other one.
Go on.
What's the best-selling beer in the world?
I don't know.
It's called Snow.
Is it?
Yes. And it's not sold anywhere except China.
Okay.
It has 20% of the entire global beer market, and you've never heard of it.
What? 20% of the global beer market?
The Chinese are the world's largest consumers of beer.
Are they?
Yes, they are massive consumers. And actually, it's only relatively recently. It's only since like the 1920s, 1930s, they started drinking beer, and then it kind of just escalated. We'd been drinking beer a bit up to them, but the commercialization of beer.
Yeah.
And Snow is an enormous company. They produce like trillions and trillions of litres of beer every year.
Wow. And I've never heard of that.
And nobody's ever heard. If you're in a pub quiz and somebody says, what's the best-selling beer in the world? You now know the answer.
That's incredible, isn't it? Wow.
So apart from Snow being the best-selling beer in the world and the Chinese being the most prolific drinkers of beer in the world,
yes.
Do you have any other interesting records for us?
Well, yes and no. This is...
You have records, but they're not interesting.
Well, no, this is... I'm going to do something completely different here.
Okay.
I started to look up Guinness World Records related to beer.
Yes.
And the word Guinness stuck out. I don't know why I have never realised this and never researched this before, but Guinness World Records were founded by Guinness.
Of course they were.
I mean, it's right there in the title. It makes total sense. But I had just somehow never realised it. It's a whopping great obvious fact that has somehow slipped past. So I haven't got any records. What I'm going to do is talk about Guinness World Records.
Oh, okay.
In the Guinness World Records section.
Great.
This has blown my mind. So essentially, Guinness World Records was established in order to settle a pub-based dispute over facts. This is so my home territory. I can't believe I didn't realise this. Anyway, in 1951, Sir Hugh Beaver, what a great name, who was the managing director of Guinness Breweries, he went on a shooting party in Ireland. He was trying to shoot a golden plover. And he got into an argument with one of his friends who were at the shooting party, talking about whether the golden plover or the red grouse was the fastest game bird in Europe. And they were sort of having a discussion over a drink. And they just couldn't come to a conclusion. They did research, they looked in books, they just couldn't find the answer to this question. And they thought to themselves, there must be loads of other people in pubs up and down the country having similar questions. Which is the fastest? Which is the biggest? Which is the heaviest, etc. Maybe there should be a book that has all the answers. Then an employee of Guinness came to Beaver and said, well, there are these two fellas called Norris and Ross McWhirter. And they sort of run a fact-finding agency in London to settle such disputes. Why don't we get in touch with them, see if we can come up with something? And between them, they created the Guinness Book of Superlatives.
Superlatives?
The fastest this, the heaviest that, the most expensive the other.
Yeah.
That was released in 1954. That eventually became the Guinness Book of Records, which has become the absolutely leading authority on who has the records for whatever the thing is.
Yes.
And has become an absolute staple of the ending of every single episode of Factoraly since. And only today, whilst reading about beer, did I realise that there was actually a connection between the world records and Guinness the beer. And I'm flabbergasted that I didn't come to that conclusion before. Yeah, a staggeringly obvious fact, but I've only just realised it today. So I thought that would do for my Guinness World Records section
Brilliant.
this week.
Well, well done, Simon. I think that's excellent.
Thank you so much.
So my glass is empty.
Yes, I have drained the dregs.
Are there dregs in beer still these days?
There probably aren't, actually, are there? No. Well,
no.
In that case, my glass is empty as well.
So thank you very much for spending time with us in this pub.
Absolutely, yes. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves and maybe washed all these facts down with a nice glass of beer.
Yes, had some nuts with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, two of us, anyway. If you'd like to continue listening to us on various other things that we talk about, then we've got a huge back catalogue of over 100 episodes, all about stuff that you had no idea that you didn't need to know about.
Exactly that.
And if you want to hear the next one, then on your podcast player, just please subscribe to factoraly.com on there.
Please do. And please also tell all of your equally nerdy friends about this show. Maybe the next time you're down the pub having a pint of beer, you could mention us in passing so that they can join in the fun as well.
Yes, or if you know us personally, obviously just nudge us and go, you got that bit on beer wrong completely.
Absolutely. We're open to correction.
Always.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, as we hope you have, then please go ahead and give us a lovely, glowing 5-star review on your podcast player of choice.
A 5-pint review.
5-pint review. So if you've enjoyed today's episode, please come again next time for another fantastically fun, fact-filled episode of Factoraly. Bye for now.
Au revoir.